Hi, this is a video for step 6 of the focusing activity, in which you're going to choose an instructional activity to help you reach your student learning outcome. So far up to this point, you've created a clear and measurable student learning outcome and assessment task that will give you evidence of that student learning outcome. In this step, you're going to choose an instructional activity that provides opportunities for students to demonstrate whether or not they've reached that student learning outcome. So I provided you with some text and web resources if needed, if you need more background. And for example, if our SLO requires a certain type of assessment task like writing, performance, or speaking, then we need to have an instructional activity that will provide an opportunity for our students to do that. In this case, we have a writing assessment task for our example, so the instructional activity should involve writing. Keep in mind, we're only doing 30 minutes of this focusing activity, so make sure your instructional activity is limited to that time limit. For example, I could create a writing activity that involves students writing their perceptions of themselves as teachers, and write another list of what they consider the good characteristics of good teachers, and then compare the list to themselves to see how they stack up with being a good teacher. We are challenged because our presentation format is online, but we want to try to create an instruction that is engaging as possible. So I provided you with something called CREED standards, and if you click on this link, you'll find out that CREED is an instructional approach that uses some of the best practices or the wisest practices in indigenous societies, such as found in Native American, Native Hawaiians. I give you a mnemonic that you should memorize. The reason I want you to memorize it is because before any lesson that you ever teach, no matter what background or situation you're in, if you get students in your instruction to talk and think, which is represented by the T, choose and collaborate, modeled information that's meaningful to the student's interests and incorporates new language, you will be assured of having a great engaging lesson every single time. So for example, the great teacher characteristic activity that I have different creeds, standards in my lesson, and hopefully that will create enough engagement that it's going to get the students excited about exploring this student learning outcome. The final step of writing up your instruction is be able to write out the steps clearly, step by step, so that another teacher could do it if they had to follow your lesson. And so I provided an example. I think the biggest challenge for new teachers is that the steps need to tell you how to do things and not what to do. So that's a fine line, because if I say get into groups, I may not tell you how to get into groups. So it's a challenge for you to be clear like that. But we'll make sure that you get some feedback if you need that. That's it, and now we'll go on to the next step.